You are listening to Indie Soul Rhythms with Moochie Alfonso.
It's good for us, and it's good for me, yeah.
The show that brings you the very best in Indie Soul. It's probably the grooviest show on the planet.
Hey everybody, today we're joined by singer-songwriter and producer Ania Garvey. Welcome to Indie Soul.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure. So we're gonna, jump right into it because we've got lots and lots of questions to ask you today. So we're gonna start with your early life and inspirations. You grew up in Bahamas. How did your upbringing and culture influence your artistic journey?
Well, it's a good thing that I was born in the Bahamas. I think because we were under the British rule, and so even though we were a hop, skip, and jump from Florida, U.S., I was able to have both cultures, enjoy both cultures, because I'm from the northernmost island of Grand Bahama. It's funny how curves work on the earth. But because of the fact that we align with parallel to West Palm Beach, we were able to have US TV, cheap little antennas, but we were able to watch US TV on that particular island. As you go from island to island, you will see there is variation. My island in particular, you can still hear that I have an American accent. Majorly, that would be one of the reasons why. Most of us do have that American accent. But the diversity in that country, where doesn't matter what your background is, doesn't matter what race you are, we all were a melting pot. It is very clear. And the thing that moves me the best is our drums. Drums, the beat of drums. And so the Bahamas has a cultural thing that happens every year, Boxing Day, and recognizing Boxing Day, also on New Year's Day, called Junkanoo. So I grew up with that particular culture behind me, hearing the beat of the drum. So if you listen to most of my music, you will be able to hear that drum intro. I absolutely love it. But that's the influence. I have to hear my drums. And anyone who knows me know I can dance really well. I'm a good dancer. And so someone like Lenny Kravitz had seen me dance, and in dancing, he asked me to be in one of his videos as well. So I'm in his video, one of his videos. As you know, he's also a Bahamian background.
Right.
So that influence is multicultural, multifaceted, but my basis is drums. I absolutely love the sound of drums.
Wow, that's amazing.
Uh-huh.
So, and I also believe, I understand that you also were an athlete while you were at school, and you hold a number of records. But you started singing quite late in life. What motivated you to start, to make such a bold career move?
Anyone who knows me, they're shocked. My parents never knew that I had this type of a talent. They never knew. So I lost my parents kind of early. My father was killed in an auto accident. And my mother went off to the US, and we really distanced ourselves a little bit because I was married very early. I was married 18 years old. So, and going back to that background of being a track star, yes, I was. At age 9, I'd already achieved Bahamas record. So I was pretty much if you can believe it, the tomboy.
Yeah.
And so the background for the Bahamas, the two major industries are hospitality. So we're born, bred, and groomed that. And then the second industry is banking. So I eventually ended up in banking. I started out in hospitality, but seeing the volatility, it was so volatile. The volatility of that particular field meant that hotels were constantly closing and reopening. And I saw brothers and sisters. I'm one of 11, just like Marcus Garvey, one of 11, and I'm the 8th child. So I was able to see those brothers and sisters and basically make my mind up. What is it that I want to go? Banking seemed to be the most solid. When I moved to the United States, I joined Bank of America. And I moved very quickly in rank in Bank of America, eventually to a vice president, which isn't equal here. I think over here it's more of a directorship. So that level in Bank of America. And when just one on a fluke. I was extremely shy, extremely. Nobody believes this. That's you? So, one day I was out. I had several clients, and it just so happens Donna Summer happened to be living in my area. I can't really divulge more than that, but put it this way: she's heard me sing, and just joking around in my shyness, because now I've built kind of a rapport with her. And I sang Last Dance out to her, and she told me, with a very serious face, you're really wasting your talent. You really should explore this further. You could have been big. I didn't really believe. I thought she was just being nice and kind, but at the same time, knowing her, she was a no-nonsense kind of person. That was 2007, somewhere around there. And eventually I went out with a group of girls, and I'm a homebody, so I rarely to never go out, and especially hanging out with a bunch of women. And I'll tell you, that is just not my thing. I'm just not a social butterfly. I just can't. And so I finally conjured up enough nerve to just go out with a group of women. I figured, you know what good is it doing me staying at home? This is what's my whole life is going to be account to in the end. So I went out with these ladies. There was a lady who was a Marvelette. To me, it was like more of a tribute Marvelette. Her name is Brenda. And she saw me, and believe it or not, she looked at me in a crowd of people and said, "You look like you can sing." You look like you can sing. I'm like, what on earth is she talking about? She's like, tell you what, I'm going to let you sing on one of my tracks or whatever. Just go ahead and peruse and see what we have. Of course, Last Dance happens to be on her track list. I said, I'll try it now. I didn't know really all the words, but at least I could do the intro. So I get up there. I am so petrified. And this is 2015. So I'm petrified, so petrified that I could not face the audience. I turned my back, took the mic and closed my eyes as tight as I could. And I started singing Last Dance. I was enclosed by everybody when I started singing. They just grouped and started like screaming and going crazy in shock, because some of them had known me through banking, were actual clients of mine. Some of them were just the ladies that no one knew. And in fact, I didn't quite know either. I could sing, you know what I mean? But my kids always told me, you should really go in those contests and stuff out. But this was really the first recognition. I was on such a high. I went home and I was like, just stunned. And I told my eldest daughter, Brittany, I was like, guess what? In front of all these people. This is 2015. What's so funny is because I just didn't think I would have it, but I've always made a promise to myself that, and this is to God especially, that if you do have a talent, any stone unturned, the one thing that I had left was that I had not sang in front of an audience that way. At choirs and stuff as a kid, I always knew I could sing. Me and my sisters and brothers all can sing well as well. And so I just wanted to explore that one. And if I have any faith in God, I said, at least let me give this a try. So I did. Here I am.
Oh, wow. That's a story. And that's really, I didn't even get time to interrupt you because it was just so wonderful to hear all that. So a little bit tells me that, because the name Garvey, when I saw that, the only thing I could think of was Marcus Garvey. And he's been an inspiration to a lot of Black people.
Mm-hmm.
How does coming from that lineage, how has that molded you as a person?
It's interesting because growing up in the Bahamas is different than growing up in Jamaica. So you're not hearing or feeling the same pride. And in fact, there are so few of us. My grandfather was the first generation. And so I shouldn't say first, my father really, because he had 4 sons, were the first generation. My grandfather moved there eventually to do business and was a developer. In fact, the oldest building in West End, Grand Bahama, was a Blue Marlin, and that was built by my grandfather, where all the stars would come and hang out and have huge clubs. We're talking people like B.B. King, would come over and just perform there. And on that particular island, no one really knew who Marcus Garvey was, except I had a brother named Marcus, and many of our teachers were Jamaican. So they would, oh my goodness, you hear that? Marcus Garvey, and they would be like, oh, we have someone famous in the family. Again, it wasn't recognized so much in the Bahamas. Eventually, though, as I was schooled in the United States, oh my goodness, if I went to do something, conduct some sort of business anywhere, and they saw my name was Garvey, that's when it was like, oh, can I have your autograph? And I'm just like, what are you? We had no clue who this man was. And so I made it a point in my university to even get some of the order film to just explore who this man was. And oh my goodness, I am most proud to be associated with him. And so again, his influence was there. I literally had to explore, because it's funny how different, coming from a different country, it just wasn't. Now if you go there, you would see much of the people are Rastafarians, very well equipped with information better than I can have about Marcus Garvey in that same Bahamas now. So to be honest, there was no influence. However, I'm very much grounded in his concepts and thought process. And that was prior to even knowing anything about him. Because of my diverse culture, my background, my grandfather, one was Jamaican, and he was also Panamanian. The other one was Guyanese, and with Chinese and Ghanaian background. And then one grandmother was Welsh and Nigerian mixed. The other grandmother, I really don't know too much about. I know that this is my father's mother, that she had Indian background, but also Black, but I don't know this necessarily. But when I did my DNA, I think this is where the Kenyan is coming from. She does look more that way. So basically, that's it in a nutshell when it comes to Marcus Garvey. But I'm a proud Garvey, and now I identify more, especially given the DNA results. I really admire the fact that, I mean, we all come from Africa, don't we? Come back from Africa, so I just envelope the fact that, and very, very proud of the fact that I am honored to be a part of Marcus Garvey's lineage. Yeah. He was way more advanced than we will ever be, and nobody could catch him because his mindset was so far. It's further than any of us could even get. But the man was really a visionary, and I really wish people would explore a little bit more with what he's saying, because I think they're getting a grip now today. They're getting it. True. He was right. That's all I can say. He was right.
Yeah. So coming back to your musical career, you have a new track. No, okay, we'll go to the new track a bit later. But there's one track that I just wanted to talk about a little bit. A track called "Let's Feel Good," which has had major success. What's the story behind that song, and how did you collaborate with especially John Morales on that track? And
so now. That particular one is very dear to me. So I started out with a guy named Yuki from Japan, and so you hear that version is out there as well. So Yuki initially did the several versions of it, and eventually my husband, who is also a DJ here in the UK, Lee Wells, he thought that Morales would do better with the music. And again, remember my thing is all about drums, and I wanted that Latin feel to it, coming from a Latin background as well. So my husband reached out to John Morales. He was my boyfriend at the time. Now you know why I married him. So he reached out to John Morales and arranged things. And next minute, I had the most beautiful music. Topped it topped all kinds of charts. I don't really like to talk too much about certain songs, because I feel like there's way too much fanfare behind it, because it had no value for me, some of these charts. Truthfully, if you've heard my stories, I'm not a fan. So, but anyway, it gave me some recognition as a result. Again, it's a popular one now. I'll tell you how if you listen to the lyrics were really written, who's now my husband, to Lee Wells. ruthless determination. I want you, you want me. Script is already written. No fighting destiny. Uh, your lips are sweet like honey. This is me really trying to solidify our relationship. It was one day, and we did, would you believe, when I met him, we FaceTime, and I think everybody should explore this rather than physical contact with an individual, continue to just talk to them this way. He and I spoke for about 9 months before we physically met each other. And when he flew over to Florida, now I would be FaceTiming with him as I am with you right now. And he came with a Boots bag. The Boots don't ask me for any money. And if you know, their slogan is "Let's feel good." So this Boots bag had it on there. I said, you know what? That's a great title for a song. Believe it or not. I said, that's a great title. I'll go ahead and write a song. I'd just been given this is what most of the producers do. They send me their instrumentals and I make music from. I build the melody, I do the lyrics. And then I arrange things in the background as well. And so I was like, let me just write something. At one point, I felt I was being interrupted so much in our FaceTime that I was like, you know what? Give me 1 hour. I'm going to come up with this song. So we disconnected for an hour. I just put my lyrics together, my words together. And then I sent it off to Yuki, who absolutely loved it. And yes, the rest is history. Now, John Morales was one of them. But what you don't know, and most people don't know, is there is one other version of it that has not been released by the king of mixers and mixes, the father of mixes, Tom Moulton. Ever heard of him? So there is a version, and now my husband is the only person who has an actual copy of it. I think Yuki tried to make another version that's similar to it because he's heard it, but my husband has the only copy of that particular version by Tom Moulton. So I have the best of the best versions of that. And there are several. Some of them are, I've heard some in some house versions of it. Either way, they're great. But my favorite is obviously Tom Moulton.
The reason why the Tom Moulton version was not
Wasn't released because he wants to keep it.
oh.
It's his top singer. It's his little. And again, he was one of those who reached out to Tom Moulton, and they chat.
Sure.
So he reached out for me. That's his little treasure.
And we come to today. You have a new single, Good Love. A new single. What was the creative process? Yeah, I love the artwork as well.
Yeah.
The creative process behind this song. And I've listened to it so many times. The first time I heard it, I was like, wow, this is just amazing. And the first thing that came to mind for me was, what was the creative process behind this song? And what do you hope listeners to take away from it?
Well, with Good Love, again, listen, I'm mostly inspired when I have to write a song to my husband. Sure. It flows naturally for me. You don't have to think twice about it. It just me saying just nice things to my husband. And what happened again in this case was I was given some music by someone and I didn't like the music. So I went out myself and explored who had been working with Metro Beats, who actually is I believe he's in Florida now, but he's from New York, lived in North Carolina, actually worked with Jay-Z. So he has a really great roots in making beats. And again, we're going back to the drums. And so I reached out to him and said, listen, I have everything, the vocals all together. I've written the lyrics to this song, but I need music. And he just came up with the music for this particular song. And it was magical. I then sent it over to Yuki. And Yuki, when Yuki heard it, he was like, you know what? I'm going to involve you with Neil Pounds and obviously 6ix9ine Records. this should really be on vinyl. And I agree because, as I mentioned, tangible things sell. It's
Yeah.
very, very difficult right now to get your music. It's selling, but to be able to get all of the royalties that matter. Listen, one of these will take over the thousands of different downloads and spins. For that reason, I'm very happy to have the vinyl copy. And of course, I will be sending over a copy, and I signed one for you. Okay, it's limited because they're all sold out at this point. So I'll make sure that you get a copy. Okay.
I really appreciate. I mean, I've started rebuilding my vinyl collection as well. So yeah, that would be a great addition.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And I'm glad you liked the artwork as well. I didn't come up with it. It was 6 9 Records who came up with that. Have an artist who does that.
Can you tell us a little bit about your radio? How does hosting a weekly show complement your work as a musician?
Well, the truth is, I started out as a presenter in the Bahamas and also as a journalist or newscaster. So I would go in the morning from this is the morning edition of news for Friday, December 12th, 2002. My name is Ania Garvey, and the news person, to you are now listening to Cool 96 and 96.1 FM. This is Anya Garvey. This new tune, blah, blah, blah. I would flip from there to there. So when I came here, it was very natural. My husband has a radio show when I went, it was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And during COVID, what better to do? When there was such a lockdown, he and I just joined forces together. It was natural just to have the combination. And I'm sorry, my husband's in the background blowing his nose during an interview. He's really sick. But
Where am I going? This flu is just got
did you
everybody.
get that one with the chest?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that. I mean, I had it, and now it's his turn. And it's horrible, that cough that comes afterwards. But yeah, so my apology for that.
No, it's fine.
So funny. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember where I was anymore.
No, you were telling me about your radio and
Oh,
your
the radio.
radio
Yes,
in
yes, yes. Cool
Bahamas.
96. Yeah, it was Cool 96, 96.1 FM. I love the radio station. And it was underwater. And we had as soon as I left the island, I'm not kidding you, everywhere that I've lived all my life was completely underwater. So that radio station, I think, eventually dissolved. But the training that I received from that radio station, the background that I received, was able to transfer that talent to this radio station, which is Tiki Radio, and that was beautiful because it allowed me to do something during COVID. Kept my mind alert because I'd come up with the creative parts of the show. And that's another thing. My forte is really marketing. So using my marketing background, I was able to design different things, flyers and stuff like that for the show. So, I think I've heard always that I articulate well, I have a nice voice, smooth voice, that it would sound great over radio. And so far, so good. So that's basically use your strengths, Why would I go into something that I don't know or I'm not good at?
Sure.
So that's why I ended up there.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about your personal journey and legacy. Yeah, we did talk about you launched your music career at 50 and achieved success at 56. What advice would you give to those considering
From
pursuing
50? Yeah.
their passions? Well, no, I'm
I'm
turning
teasing.
50.
I'm teasing.
I'm only turning 55 next month.
Is that
So
right?
yeah, black don't crack.
That's what, yeah, you're right. That's my husband's age. So yeah. But you mean you're talking about me and that age? I really don't have any problems with that whatsoever. You're right.
Yeah. So what I was asking is, what advice would you give to those considering pursuing their passions later in life?
Yeah, well, the truth to the matter is the reason why I hadn't explored is because I am the mother of four. My children were my priority. And honestly, I think that we don't realize in this life that we have a turnkey life. It's already been designed for us. We just need to flow through. Just choose proper priorities. Now, for me, what a lot of people don't know was in my first marriage, I was a battered wife. And when I say battered, I'm not talking, when they say abuse, it could be mental or physical. I was physically harmed a lot.
Mm.
And vocally, just made to be quiet. And this is my outlet. And so when I left with my children. Um, I had to literally run away with my children and start life all over again. It's a very, very scary time for me. I was only 20, in my 20s, 26. And when I started my life again, I just decided to make them the priority. So my children seeing that, and they knew that I was sacrificing. They always encouraged me, Mommy, you should do this. You should go into singing. You should go into those contests and stuff like that. And back then, I had an even better voice because as you grow older, the depth is there. I can't hit those pitches, although I can hit pitches. I can't hit what I used to be able to hang. I mean, really well, like a Whitney Houston song in her younger days. You notice even her voice dragged in the end. But so it was the encouragement through the encouragement of my children who I allowed to fly free and become who they are. I always said to them, "This is your life. There's nothing I'm going to feel or achieve for you. Everything that you do, it's going to be from you, on you. You need to be able to explore things yourself." And as an example, I wanted to make sure that my daughters never were inhibited the way that I was, to be able to become the women that they want to. Um, and for that reason, I just chose to settle that. So the reason why so late was because I felt that I could let my kids from the nest. The youngest one right now is 24 years old, and she's exploring as well. She could easily have gone in the route of her grandfather was a great attorney, eventually Supreme Court, and now appeals court justice, and she could have gone that route to law, but has chosen to become a civil engineer. So when I see all of my children, scientists, civil engineers, son, and the list of things that they've achieved, I'm proud because I could have either taken on my life and then explore and neglect them and have nothing of children, or build them and then I would live my dream through them. In the end, they were always encouraging and said to me, Mom, you should go ahead and do the singing. And again, it was only because I took my nerve, that the thing that was the scariest thing to me, and I jumped, and thank goodness I'm still flying. I took the risk. It was so worth it. Have faith. And I'm doing what I like to do most. Anyone who knows me know I wake up singing. I go to sleep singing. So it's not to me. Like when I was younger, I loved to run as well. I would laugh the whole race because I would win every time, boy, girl, whatever. I was winning. I would laugh the whole way. When they got serious about it and I started winning, having all these awards and big trophies and all that recognition, it robbed all the fun out of it. And that's exactly what I'm trying to avoid here. I do not want what a lot of people go after, the fanfare. And every time I go to an event, I hear it every time. Just New Year's Day when I was out, they were like, what are you doing with that voice? And you're not famous. I'm happy though. That's the key. I'm happy. And if you've heard me, one recording is one thing, but you have to hear me in person. It's completely different. And I have a very powerful voice. I likely don't even need a mic. How powerful I can project my voice, and multifaceted. So when people say, what style? I'm me. That's it. So that's the reason why so late in life, choices. And I would say to somebody, do not limit yourself. And if it's your fair especially go after it. Go after it, no matter what it is that you're afraid of. I wouldn't suggest jumping off a plane, but I'm talking about something that is within your control. Uh-huh.
Absolutely. And that takes us very nicely to my next questions. What can fans expect from you in terms of new music or performances in 2025?
Well, in 2025, I'd like to explore some contests, not in the magnitude where you are, that I would be like on Great Britain's Got Talent. Something that I considered, even my mother-in-law had stated, why don't you go on The Voice, blah, 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 blah. Isn't that? Because again, you go right back to that same thing. In fact, I've learned that it is especially not something I want, because the girl who is currently Sydney Christmas, who is the current GBT, is a very good friend of mine.
Oh,
And it has taken her away from me. So this is something, and I mean, she will tell you, I took her at my events. She would come with me at my events, just sing along. I've been to her house. I've been in her bed, sleeping in her house. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
we're good friends. But I can tell you that that's not. I've seen her. She's had to go to this and that and that. I'm just like, oh my God, the chaos behind that. And then you don't have much control, do you? But I intend to do something on a lower scale, maybe because I'm also a carer, care worker. I can't really say that because I'm really the business administrator. So I've taken the old talent of being a banker and taken it to something that I really have a passion behind, which is care home and care business. And so I can still get to correspond with the seniors and with colleagues and care about people, which I really love. But at the same time, I can still have the multifaceted job where I can multitask and still not get my mind, just into a puddle in the end. So that's something I want to explore, is probably like, what is it, Carers Got Talent?
Yeah.
Something more at that level, because the exposure isn't so huge there, but at least I will satisfy what people have been saying to me all along. Why don't you go in this contest? Blah, 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 blah. And it'll also take me to a different level, for myself, because I've never actually gone in contests. So wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice to be able to at least walk away with something saying, you know what, I won that. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Um, so my final question, how do you envision the next chapter of your career as the UK's Queen of Soul and Disco?
I, again, like a lot of people want to look at the fame behind it, and it's nice to have a talent. I can't, if God's given you a talent, you never put it under, they said, don't put it under a bushel. Yeah, let it shine, let it shine. In their song, let it shine, let it shine. So for that reason, and it is what makes me happiest. Even my dog loves to hear me sing. She's a rescue dog from the Humane Society of Tampa. And I brought her all the way from Florida. She's here with me, 18 this year. And she loves to hear me sing it's a little song that I sing at night for her. And she can't resist. She nods off every single time. So, I mean, I just want to continue to sing, allow me to sing. I mean, I love when it is that I have close contact with audiences, touching, and I especially flirt with men all the time, and then let them know that that's my husband, the DJ. So it's always awesome. I would love to venture, maybe because I've been doing a lot of them in this area. I would like to probably go like to Birmingham, or I hardly ever, not racist at all, but hardly ever have a Black audience. I'd love to be able to have one, because I think they will enjoy me. I would love that. That's majorly what I'm looking forward to. It's like I'm actually trying to venture that way. I just can't get the connections again. I'm a homebody. I'm a homebody. How could you reach someone if you're at home all the time? I try my best, but if maybe you can get the word out. I am interested in performing in Birmingham, or I can't even think of any other communities around. I lived in Barris and Edmonds, and I've lived here, and no, there's a difference. Oh, I've performed in London as well. So, and that was really nice in a club there. So I know there's that audience out there. It was really wild, that one. I loved it. It was all upbeat. So audiences, listen out, watch out for me, please. Watch my space on Facebook. I'm one of them old girls, so I'm always on Facebook more, more than anything. Maybe some Instagram, but I really haven't explored this further, or even because one, it can be expensive, and it could be a waste of your money because there's always somebody trying to mooch in your pocket, right? So I use my own talents, as a graphics artist. I know how to connect and build a database to be able to disperse my music. If my music hasn't been dispersed, it's because really I haven't. If I want to, I've had enough connections in this UK to be able to have my music played on just about any radio station. But it's not what it's all about again. It's not about fame or anything. To me, the most important thing right now is legacy. I have a grandson. I have a grandson. His name is Michael Gabriel, and Jamaican grandfather too, right? Jamaican grandparents. And I only had the privilege of holding him for about 2 weeks of his life before moving here. He was born in 2020 in August, and that's when I moved here, and just beginning of September. And so in that short time, I sang to him. It would put him to sleep. And this boy has the best voice. He's 4 years old now, the best voice. And I cannot wait. And here's the legacy that we were talking about earlier. This boy will not he don't have to say Marcus Garvey. He'll say Ania Garvey. That was my grandmother. And that's important. All these things, the videos that you have, these will be able, my grandchildren will forever be able to see me now. That's important to me, to let them know, don't give up on your dream. Don't let anyone, I've always told my family, anything is possible. And believe me, for instance, my son, who is also a master gunsmith, and it was also a passion, he's an engineer, but he went to one of the best schools in the United States for gunsmithing. And he was also military. So I want y'all to know he's not, one of those, yes, don't shoot everybody. No, he went to school in Pennsylvania. And when he went to school, there were several people in his class. He was the only one to graduate. He was told that he could not build an automatic pistol. And now he's built the world's first one. So yes, he remembers what his mother said. There's never nothing you can't do. You can do anything. You just really have to connect the dots to be able to get to it. And that's what I want people to remember me for. I've always thought that way. Let's just figure it out. That's it.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really wise words. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking time out and just chat to us, let us into, your life for a little bit. And I really appreciate that. This platform is always open for you. But before we let you go, I'm going to ask you to do us the honor of introducing your new single.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm really and there's more to come. The record label has already said to me, "Bring them on," and I'm proud of this. By the way, 6ix9ine Records. They are. I mean, they've had the best of the best on this label. So what an honor for me to be even a part of this song. My song, "Good Love." Also, the reverse side, "Let's Feel Good." So you get both of those. Can you see that? Yeah. You get both of those in the mail. If you could kindly give it to me when you're done, okay? So, world, from my heart to yours, I'm going to introduce my beautiful song, "Good Love." Good love.